Udah
ഹലോ ഓക്കെ അല്ലേ? കിട്ടുന്നില്ലല്ലേ? ഹലോ ഹലോ
ഹലോ, ഗുഡ് മോർണിംഗ് സർ.
ഗുഡ് മോർണിംഗ്. കിട്ടിയോ? ഹലോ
സർ, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓഡിബിൾ സർ.
Yes, join the no. So I can share the people.
ഹലോ അൺമ്യൂട്ടഡ് അല്ലേ? അൺമ്യൂട്ടഡ് ആണ് ഇത് വീഡിയോ. ശരി. അവര് ഇതാണ് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഇയർഫോൺ. ഹലോ 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 ഫുൾ സൗണ്ട് ഇരിക്കല്ലേ അല്ലേ? ഹലോ അല്ല, എനിക്ക് കേൾക്കാൻ പാടില്ല. എങ്കിൽ അയാള് സംസാരിക്കുമല്ലോ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത്. എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് സംസാരിക്കുന്നില്ലല്ലോ. നടന്നു പറയാൻ പക്ഷെ കേൾക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് നിന്നില്ലേ? ഹലോ I can't hear you. അതെന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നല്ലേ? ഫോണിൽ വിളിക്കുന്നില്ല. പക്ഷെ ഇത് വർക്കിംഗ് ആണ്. വയ്ക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇത്തിരി സൗണ്ട് കുറയും. പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഇവിടെ കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിനെ വരികയും ചെയ്യും. അവൻക്ക് അതൊന്നും അവർക്ക് മറ്റേ ആകെ കുറച്ചു പേരല്ലേ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ് ആണ്. ഉറക്കവും പോയില്ലേ? അല്ല.
Ask it to share PPT and stuff.
ആ അപ്പൊ എന്നെ കാണാമോ? കാണാവോ? ഓക്കെ. പക്ഷെ സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ലല്ലോ. പക്ഷെ സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല. മ്യൂട്ടല്ല. ഹലോ, എനിക്ക് കാണാം പക്ഷെ സൗണ്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ലല്ലോ. ഞാൻ പറയുന്ന കേക്കാവോ? Teaching staff, students. Hello. Hello. Today's my practice. Hello. Today's topic is why I am homeopath. I being qualified in the different systems of medicine. Mainly, my practice is on homeopathy system. For the last 48 years, I am doing homeopathy, even though I am qualified in the other systems of medicine. That's why I put this question: why I am a homeopath? I am interested in homeopathy because I get more results in terms of cure as described by Hahnemann in homeopathy only. That's the main answer I have to give you. Then you may be asking me which system you prefer, why you prefer like that. Even though I am loving all the other systems of medicine, since I get better results in homeopathy, I am favoring homeopathy. I am doing practice in homeopathy mainly. 95% of cases of I'm giving homeopathic medicine. Then coming to the topic, why I am a homeopath. Homeopathy, I believe that it is a complete, effective, economic, harmless, perfect, and simple artistic science. Why it is artistic science means not only the knowledge, there should be some peculiar interest and the peculiar thing for in every practitioner. You should have that in every practitioner. Homeopathy is homeopathy is a medicine of experience. As an example, I can tell you, everybody can sing, but you cannot sing like Mohammad Rafi or KJ Yesudas, because you can study singing, how to sing like that, but you cannot sing like that. That will give you an idea why you should have you should develop your own way of practice. I would like to say that even if you hear different people, different doctors, different experience, they tell you should develop your own way of practice or your own schedule of practice. Then only you can become a successful practitioner. That is my advice to the young generation. You have to hear everything. You have to hear whatever you get as knowledge. You mug it up and you develop your own way or your own way of practice. That will lead you to success. And now my request is, it is the duty of all of you to go further in the theory and practice of homeopathy than Hanuman has given to us. Homeopathy still have much to learn from what Hanuman taught us. Organon of medicine is the textbook without which there will be no homeopathy. Over the past 48 years of practice, I have given wrong medicines, partial simillimums, and frequent repetitions with negative effects. I got a great respect for the principle of being 100% natural, and which was made applicable, or we can say impregnated, in therapeutics. That is what I see in homeopathy. Homeopathy is natural, and the principles are related to the natural things, and it is applicable or it is impregnated in the therapeutics. If you want to follow his footsteps, little more time, effort, and the dedication in homeopathy is a must. Easy to be a homeopathic physician, but difficult to be a homeopathic practitioner. As a silent ambassador of homeopathy, I may act as a master key that open locked doors of new genuine thoughts. The theories and principles of Sikh varies from different to different systems of medicine. Experienced with the genuine problems in day-to-day practice while applying its principle and doctrine, Hanuman itself found so many difficulties, and he developed certain principles according to the problems he faced in his day-to-day practice. The truth never needs to fear, and I welcome well-furnished criticism. Definitely, homeopathy didn't stop with the Hanuman. You should have been provide with my. I should provide certain things with my observation.
3,000 rupees per person.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear? Hello. I'm continuing, please. Here all.
You can continue.
Yeah. My request is, here all sections receive the most wanted. Compare with your own experience, analyze, develop your own way of practice in your own, and apply in your own practice. That is my request. You will be, then only you will be a good practitioner. Your own homeopathy is the best and the correct homeopathy according to me. This forms the best way of understanding and to become a successful practitioner. Knowledge becomes knowledgeable only when it is learned, informed, and it is applied. It is with a knowledgeable philosophy. Homeopathy is a simple artistic health science. It is with a knowledgeable philosophy. Philosophy begins with where science ends. Philosophy begins where science ends, and science begins where philosophy ends. It has got an artistic part and a scientific part. The scientific part can be understood by everybody with the basic scientific knowledge, but the artistic part is yet to be clearly defined. If science is learned and art is practiced, science teaches one to know and the art to do or to act. Hence, science and art are complementary. in homeopathy, I believe that there is three phenomena you can see in the nature. That is, life principle, as Hanuman said, is a single only one that is available. The phenomena can be materialism, can be dynamism, can be lifeism. And the materialism is based on the allopathic practice, and the dynamism is based on homeopathic practice, and the lifeism, as I believe, it is the vaccinations in general. We use a term called the holism, which we will say for alternative medicine. It is not alternative medicine. Holism is the concept of the sick, or concept of the sick, of the disease. We will consider him as a whole, and that is holism, not the integration or not the complementing of each system of medicine and labeling it as a holistic system of medicine. No, it is the concept of the sick person or the concept of the deceased. Whatever you give in the form of medicine, the life has to respond singly and produce the effect, and that also is a part of holism. Scientific explanation is not possible in all phenomena. For example, if you put 2y, the answer will be we don't know. The science ends where philosophy begins, and philosophy begins where science ends. What happens can be observed. Why happens may or may not be explained, and how happens usually cannot be explained. Science is explained scientific knowledge based on you. Suppose if I say something to you, you will analyze according to your knowledge, and then you will say it is right or no. You may not be knowing a lot of things which is present in the world, and you sometimes this question may be open to the world, and the world knowledge may be answering you, and in some cases you cannot even answer with the world knowledge, and you cannot say that is wrong because your knowledge is limited. For example, the depth of love of usually we will say it is scientific only when we can measure it, or we can observe it, or we can do experiment it, and we can reproduce it. Then only we will say it is science. But there are certain things. For example, the love of the mother to the child, an idea conveyed by a law. Suppose if I can give you an example. Suppose if you if one of your friend and yourself is appearing for an interview, and you being the first rank holder, but the appointment appointment got to the second rank holder. He did some manipulations and he entered into the service. Then this fact you know, but and the second rank holder being the first rank holder, and the second rank holder is your friend also. So you will be meeting him once and again. So you will be laughing at him, no, and you are giving handshake also. But in your mind, you may be feeling jealousy of him, or you will be saying, "I will caught you once," no, like that. But you are laughing at him also. But that science of love you can study in the scientific way. You can put many electrodes on your masseter muscles, on the orbicularis oris muscle, and your biochemical mechanism can be studied using the blood or something else. Okay, but the idea conveyed that I will caught you once, that you cannot study in any means. No, when you laugh at him, your mind is having a revenge against him. No, that you cannot study. But the mechanics of the law, the chemistry of the law, you can study through electrodes and through some biochemical mechanisms. But what your mind think of, it cannot be studied in an experiment. That is one example. Another one example I can tell you, which you may be understanding more clearly. That is suppose college opens after the first admission, graduation admission, a lot of students come, and one boy concentrate on some lady students there. So say 4 or 5 lady students, he concentrate and he want to select one, and he selected one, and he is always with her, and they are moving in the college campus, and then finally they entered into PG also, and he want to marry him. And that time the father comes. No, father says that you need not marry that girl. I will propose one girl who is having a lot of money, good residence in a city, and they will give this thing as a money, lakhs and lakhs. So you marry them. Then this boy doesn't want to marry. He will be against the father's opinion. Finally, father says, if you don't marry this girl, I will get suicide. Then he is in trouble. Then finally, he agreed to marry the girl proposed by the father. Okay. Then if you study the chemistry of love, in this case, you can see when in the first course started, he was concentrating on 3 or 4 lady students, and that time his blood was maximum with dopamine. Then he is concentrating on one lady, and that time the hormone level is maximum with serotonin, and finally he is mad with this girl, and he is always with that girl. He was very much deep in love with her. That time the hormone is oxytocin. So this is the chemistry of love, and this is called the stage of lust, stage of attraction, and stage of attachment. It is studied in very detailed scientific way, and oxytocin is responsible for the deep love. Then if it is true, suppose the father comes and says, and finally he agreed to marry the girl that proposed by the father, then that time, if you study the oxytocin and this series hormones in study, the oxytocin is, if oxytocin is the criteria of the depth of the love, suppose if you take oxytocin in 10 cc syringe and injected into the buttocks of this guy, definitely he has to change the opinion. No, he's not changing. So this is not the scientific way of approach. No, if after injection of oxytocin into the buttocks of this guy, if he changes the this thing proposal and he marries the first girl, then we can say that it is scientific. No, it is not taking place like that. So that means everything cannot be studied in test tube. So that is the limitation of science. So here the science limitation is we cannot, as homeopaths, we cannot explain how the medicine acts in our body. There are so many principles came out recently, Avogadro's principle, then nanotechnology, and so on and so forth. But in future, I expect in future it can be explained due to the development of the science in future. Then coming back to this thing, there are 3 existing stages. One is called the materialism. Second is called the dynamism, and the third one is as lifeism. And I believe like this. No, the modern medicine, the material medicine act on the material plane, and the homeopathic medicines act on the dynamic plane, and there is a effect of the lifeism also in our body. Or you can say that all this is there, it is acting through the lifeism ultimately. So that is there. So the materialism, the paracetamol or allopathic medicines are acting through the materials. And dynamic medicines acting on this is our medicine only. And there is a limitation of our medicine also. It is not reaching up to the level of lifism unless it is continuously used or repetition is there. So that is the one understanding with me regarding the homeopathic medicine. So the materialism, if a medicine is continuously given on material dose, it will derange the vital force also. That is, it will come and affect the dynamic, or come and act on the dynamic level. And if dynamic medicine continuously given for a long period, it will affect the lifism also. And the period of action and all is debatable. No. So that's why you get the material medicine continuously given, you will get derangement of the vital force. And even the dynamic medicine continuously gives, it will affect the life force, and there can be derangement also. So Hahnemann understood this very much. That's why he used like in lifism, instead of certain cases, even if given the correct dynamic medicine, he didn't get much result. So that's why he introduced the galvanism, electricism, and so on and so forth. That will affect directly the lifism force. So this phenomena you can see in disease derangement also. For example, cancer. You can get two way of cancer developing. One is from external to internal, and the other one is from internal to external. So, for example, if you take oral cancer or tongue cancer, suppose if there is an ill-fitting denture, and this ill-fitting denture will continuously irritate your oral mucosa or tongue, and that will lead on to, in years, that will lead on to a small ulcer. And if it is continually irritate after years, 10 years, 20 years, you will develop the oral cancer due to artificial intenture. You may be studying in pathology and also all these things. So that is continuous irritation in material will lead on to dynamic change, and finally it will manifest as an ulcer, cancer. And in the opposite direction also it can come. For example, if you are a earning member in your family, your children are studying, your wife is not employed, all of a sudden with heart attack or traffic accident, you died. After some period, after months or so, your wife got an ulcer in the tongue, and that turned into malignancy. That is due to violent, sudden impact on your lifism, and that manifests from internal to external. So that impact was on the trauma of the mental trauma, resulted in manifestation externally as cancer of the tongue. So that two ways you can get diseased. One is starting from interior, affecting lifism, dynamism, and materialism. The other one is materialism, dynamism, and lifism. So the way of this is what I am saying from my experience. This theories and all. So the approach in medicinal approach or the treatment approach should also be different. For example, this same example, cancer of the tongue, which resulted from ill-fitting denture, resulted in cancer of that mucosa, oral mucosa or tongue. You can try lower potencies medicine. That will be effective also to a certain extent. And finally, you have to come into higher potencies and all. That's but in the second case, when derangement is starting in the lifism plane, coming to dynamism and affecting the material plane and manifesting as an ulcer of the tongue, the medicine selection should be from higher potencies. Higher potencies always. Then only you will get the result. That even then it will take some time to get the result, because it is all of a sudden and directly affecting the lifism. You have to start with high potencies, whatever be the medicine. And similarly, I am putting a question: is Mongolism curable? This principle you can apply there also. Is Mongolism cure? According to me, Mongolism is curable provided you get the child in the infant or life itself. That is before 1 year of life. Before 1 year of life, if you get the child, I can assure you that it can be cured, provided it requires repetition of medicines and all things. Why I am saying this, you can analyze like this, you can think like this, which I definitely thought about. No, Mongolism, all of you know, it is a chromosomal disorder. The Mongolism can be diagnosed in the labor table itself. No, first day of life of the child, you can diagnose Mongolism. That you know, I am not going into detail about that. So once you diagnose the Mongolism, you start taking medicine. And giving, as my experience, it took us minimum 3 to 4 years to get, or 5 years to get a good result, or even by medication. Our medication, all of you know, the Mongol child will be looking, having a particular facial this thing, and that even changes. I got a number of cases, and that even changes, and the face itself becomes normal. How and why? Because when you give homeo medicines from the first year of life itself of a Mongol child, it will create an environment. If you have to give, my opinion is you have to give repeated medicine. When you give repeated medicine, it will produce an environment in the cell, in the body, again in the tissue, again in the cell itself, or in the plasma itself. It will have a medicinal environment. So that medicinal environment, continuous influence will change the gene. That is my observation, and it requires long time. That's why I said it requires 4 to 5 years. If you give continuously, the change you can see, and even the face becomes normal. The mental or comprehensions and all will become normal. And that I will explain through a simple example. Suppose I am going to Japan. I am marrying a Japanese lady, and I am coming back to India. I am coming back to India, or even Kerala. So my first generation children, when I get 2 children, one children will be a Japanese man of Japanese, and the other will be a Keralite or an Indian. Suppose this Japanese again marries another Keralite, then his children will be again 1 or 2 children will be Indian, 1 children will be Japanese. This Japanese child again marries a Keralite. After 200 or 300 years, the total change will occur. Total change will occur. This Japanese character will be disappearing. Why? Because of the environmental influence. For environmental influence in nature, it requires years and years, 300 years, 400 years, like that. That is why the Japanese is looking like Japanese, Chinese are like Chinese, Sri Lankans are like Sri Lankans, because of the environmental influence natural. But when you suppose if you can create an environment inside the cell by means of the dynamic medicine, this change will be the time will be shortened. The time will be shortened. That's why you get a cure in Mongolism and all. In nature, you can see a phenomena which is a trios phenomena. That is the environment actually decides the time accounts, and the nature accounts. No, that is called the theory. That is according to that is called as a theory of trios. Theory of trios. One is nature. The second is time. The third one is the environmental influence. Environmental influence. For example, I will tell you, I will make you understand by means of a simple example. Suppose if you keep X in this thing. This will take minimum days to hatch out and comes as chickens. This thing. This will take some time. No. Suppose if you leave the egg simply, it will degenerate and perish. No. But what you require is you want to have a favorable environment to hatch out in the chicks. So that is the environment. Similarly, suppose you have a rose tree tea stem, rose tea stem, and if you throw it, it will perish and destroy. No, suppose if you planted planted and giving water and artificial manuring and all, it will hatch out as a new rose herb. No rose. So that shows always environment is very important, and this is controlled by the time, and the nature decides what is the rose. When it is planted, it will come as rose only. The egg, when it is hatched out, it will come as chicken only. That is the control of the this thing. So these three factors are very, very, very important. That is the nature, the time, and the environment. So that is made applicable in giving treatment in treatment of Mongolism. And the potency regarding, there are a lot of things which is relatable. What potency you have to give, how much, how many repetition you have to give, what frequency you have to give repetition, and all, how long it has to be given. All this is debatable. You can decide according to your own will. So that is the rule of trios. Next comes the miasm. Next comes the miasm. I want to cover all the things in a short time period. So I am not going into detail. Miasm, according to me, the miasm, the three miasms are correct. They are Sura, syphilis, psychosis. To me, all the three miasms are there, and they are in a vibratory stage. So there is a vibration for every miasmatic stage. That is just like a clock pendulum moves. No, it is centrally, it is neutral. Then it can go to right side and left side, or the one side it will be increased, the other side it will be decreased. So in normal health, it will be in central place. So since I told there is three miasms also is there. So in a combination of, if you take, it will be 84 combinations. 84 combinations. Suppose if you take a miasm, each miasm has got two stages. One is it will be in physiological stage, and the other it will be in pathological stage. In physiological state itself, it is in functional level or cellular level. Similarly, in pathological state also, it will be in functional level or cellular level. I will tell you an example. Suppose, we can take Sora miasm. Sora miasm, physiological state, you can have appetite. You can have normal body temperature. You can have fear. Like this, everything is in normal state. So similarly, in the cellular level, you can have normal BP. You can have normal concentration of the elements of the this thing in the blood and all. Suppose if it is increased, then it becomes disease. No, if the appetite is very much increased, then it is a disease sign. If the appetite is very much decreased, then it is a sign. Sorry. Hello? 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 Hello?
Sir, it is audible, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you. In between it went off.
Okay.
You are audible.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I was telling about miasms. No, miasma according to me.
What is
Sorry. Miasms, according to me, it can exist it is existing in a vibratory state, and the neutral is the normal position, and it can be increased or decreased. Similarly, if you take all the three miasms, the combination will be coming to 84 combinations. And as an example, I took Sora as a Sora in physiological state and Sora in pathological state. Sora in physiological state can be increased state or decreased state or even neutral state. In neutral state, suppose if you take appetite as an example, normal appetite is Sora in neutral state. Suppose the Sora is decreased, there is decreased appetite always, and it is definitely a sign of a disease also. Next is increased appetite, that is again a sign of disease also. And as an example, in pathological state, or you can have two varieties, as I said earlier. It can be a functional state or cellular state. In functional state, increased appetite, as I said earlier, or decreased appetite. In cellular state, BP, the BP will be increasing or will be decreasing, or similarly the blood sugar is increasing or decreasing. Both are disease states. Okay, 1 minute. Sorry, let me open my computer, laptop. Okay. Okay. Similarly, you can have a different stage in psychosis also, and also in syphilitic miasm. So there also you can have a physiological state as well as a pathological state. Similarly, in syphilitic miasm also you can have pathological state and physiological state. The pathological state is again cellular and functional. Different examples I can give you, but due to shortage of time, I'm not going into detail. That is regarding the miasms. Sorry. Okay. Then another one thing I want to share with you from my experience is regarding the potency and regarding the symptoms. No, suppose if I say I got a pain in the right lower limb in the knee, which is certain descriptions of the pain and so on and so forth. Then in your mind, certain medicines will be coming, and that medicine usually it will be Rustock or Symphytum or Calmia or Ledum, or it may be colchicum, like that. No. Why it is? Why the medicine, the euphrasia or Sina is not coming? Because when a medicine is proved, it has got affinity. It has shown certain affinity towards the tissue or towards the system or towards the cells. And that's why if you think of a symptom which is connected with this, you are in your mind, these medicines comes, not the other two medicines which I said, Sina or euphrasia like things. No, it's not coming. That is because when the medicine is proved, it has got an affinity towards the systems, and if that system affinity is mainly when it is proved in a particular potency. For example, majority of the medicines are proved in tinctures or in 1x potency or 2x potency. That's why it has got when proving, it has got a particular tissue. Suppose if you prove the medicine in different potencies, then you can get more specific. Different potencies, especially the medicine, when you when you prove the medicine highest potencies and all, you can get the specific medicines. I will give you an example. You can try in your life also, which I am not this thing. You can experiment it also. For example, knee pain, especially osteoarthritis of knee. If you give Bryonia tenum, it specifically act on the knee. Why? Because in that tenum potency has got an affinity towards the connective tissues of that area. So, yeah, as I said earlier, Rustock, then Calmia, Ledum, like things has got an affinity towards the connective tissue, and that itself, when you prove in higher potencies or different potencies, that affinity becomes more markable towards a particular thing. One example I told you is Bryonia, which has got affinity towards the knee joint. Tenum only. Similarly, if you give Naxomica tenum in cervical spondylosis, it specifically act on the cervical muscles, and not the Naxomica vanum, not the Naxomica 50m or cm. It's specifically the Naxomica tenum. So why? Because that particular potency has got affinity towards the that particular tissue. Similarly, you can test it also. The Lycopodium tenum, if you give and if you experimentally study the insulin secretion, you can see that the insulin increases with 10m other than this 1m or 50m or cm. The tenum specifically act on the beta cells of the pancreas. So that you can study. And my request to the college teachers and professors is when you select the PGs for MDs and all, especially the organon of medicine or materia medica and all, to give this as an assignment. Study the potency, find out a lot of specific. That's why when you discuss some case, when your failure case with your doctors or your colleagues, when you describe the case, then he will say you give Bryonia. Then he will say we will say I have tried Bryonia also. Then they will say some other medicine. Then I will say that also I tried. Then this third person will say one you give 10 tenant specifically, then this specifically will act on this particular issue. That's why you get cure. So according to me, the potency is also specific, and that has to be verified by the new generation of doctors, especially the PGs and all. Why Hahnemann or anybody else, when medicine is proved, they proved only in one potencies. That's why you get limitation of specificity or specific symptoms. So when you give in a different when you give, why the doctors, all doctors, especially in Kerala, they are not case taking in, because here the practice is very this thing. No, everybody will have more than 20-25 patients, and good practice is nearly 100 patients per day and all. They need not take such a vast study of cases and all. They prescribe usually from their own experience, and this experience is like this. No, the potency, specificity, the medicine specificity and all. When you take the case, you will understand that this is this case, this is this case. They try. If it fails early, they will go for some other detailed study of cases and all. So that is regarding the dose, I have to say. Then sorry. So that is my humble request. Everybody, especially the doctors who are hearing me as process and all, they should give assignments to the students and understand these things for the benefit of the future generation of doctors. No. With this, I think I can conclude. No, one thing I have to stress. No, that is, you have to observe what you see in your day-to-day practice. Then you try to apply it in your practice. Why? Because Hahnemann itself, as my understanding goes, whether it is right or not, if you study the different organon, you can see almost 11 times Hahnemann changed his thoughts, his principles. No, 11 times. That is theory of miasms. He introduced genus epidemics. He introduced local applications. He introduced homeopathic prophylaxis. He introduced actually millisimal potency, then frequent repetition of medicines, change from vital force to vital principle, then to vital energy, and finally to life energy. Introduction of mesmerism, electricity, galvanism, mechanism of homeopathic aggravation, introduction of dynamization, and homeopathic palliation. Because of the practical problems he found in his day-to-day practice, he found out a remedy for that, and he very well explained why he is changing like that, or why he is coming to such a conclusion like that. So that is very important. No, whenever you see this, you can also change your thoughts, and you have to give a correct explanation for why you change like that. No, that is most welcome. And with this, I am stopping my talk. I hope you may appreciated what I mean in the good sense. And always it is debatable, I am saying again and again. And thank you all, especially Dr. Manilal and the college or the deemed university people, to give me, for giving me a chance to address you. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Hari sir,
Hello, completed.
completed. It's very good. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be inviting
Okay,
you for the
welcome.
International Homeopathy Conference next year.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
We'll
Sorry.
be inviting you as a faculty for the international conference next year.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for most welcome.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
നാട്ടിൽ വരുമ്പോ കാണാം.
You have to give me a feedback, no?
I will give you a feedback.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. You know how to switch off?